So dudes, I got to play the new Rainbow Six Siege season early, thanks to Ubisoft, who have sponsored this video. Click the link in the description to find out what's going on with Operation Twin Shells. Pretty soon you're gonna get to teleport in Rainbow Six Siege. I'm not joking. I do not believe anybody could have predicted this. The new defender Skopos can swap back and forth between a pair of autonomous robots that move and shoot just like regular Siege operators. Now, you may have seen this mechanic from another game, and I know what you're thinking, but it's still not quite like that. So here's how it works. You have two bodies, but you only have one life. When you're playing Skopos, the active body is the one that you are gunning and shooting with. The passive body turns into an observation device. It deploys a bulletproof shield with bulletproof glass, but it does not count as your operator's life. So, what that essentially means is, strategically speaking, you can have presence on the other side of the map and still keep some reactionary presence in the site itself. This opens up an avenue for strategic risk-taking on the defense that I don't think ever existed in Rainbow Six Siege up until now. The most immediate example to me was playing for a deep roam on the other side of the map when I realized I was in an unwinnable gunfighting situation where I was getting pinched from a lot of different angles at the same time. I swapped back to my other body on the main site, and I lived to fight another day. So you can play down to the wire for map control really far away without nearly the same risk as many other characters.
Oh, that's a good little spot.
Yeah, that's why I was suggesting Cafe earlier. The bots also have a decent primary weapon that doesn't have a lot of recoil, kind of low rate of fire, but pretty high damage output. So you'll never have to worry about the range at which you take a gunfight. You can take them from far away confidently.
Keep dropping down the skylight, bro.
Skylight dead. Skopos doesn't offer much more utility than that. You only get access to a pistol as a secondary, plus the choice of impacts and prox alarms. But for all the reasons that I just stated, despite the fact that Skopos isn't really a Swiss Army knife in terms of utility and setup and things like that, I still think Skopos' ability to have passive or active presence on two significant points of a map is very powerful. Now, for all I know, when it comes down to competitive play, there might be a variety of reasons that she won't necessarily work as effectively. Maybe attackers will be able to drone down and counteract the effects of it pretty quickly. Maybe they'll be able to deal with the utility a lot more efficiently. I don't know. But as far as I can tell, for ranked, for most people, for the vast majority of Siege players, this character is going to be very strong. This character adds a completely different dynamic to the attack as well as the defense. If you are not thorough with your roam clear or your information gathering, you can end up with a really tricky situation on your hands where you basically get 5 nights Freddy'd from a robot that you didn't drone out 2 minutes ago. And unlike a conventional deployable shield or a bulletproof camera, you can reposition this observation tool whenever you want, wherever you want, provided it's safe, without having to pick it up and move it manually. You can swap back and forth between these bodies as many times as you want. And every once in a while, you might get a glance at a grumpy lady. Well, she's a familiar face in the same way that Deimos is, and she's a part of the original Tom Clancy Rainbow Six canon. She's the rainbow vet that everybody thought was going to be added because Ubisoft confirmed they were adding a Greek operator a long time ago. My original theory was that she was going to be portrayed the same way that she was in the previous games, as a sniper character. That's not the route that Ubisoft took. In this story, Specialist Galanos sustained an injury that rendered her unable to walk anymore. It's live service multiplayer lore, and for that reason, as we all know, most people aren't going to pay that much attention to it. But Ubisoft has been fighting an uphill PR and marketing battle ever since they pivoted to this more military, grounded sort of tone in Year 8. People are, of course, familiar with the Tom Clancy rolling in his grave meme, which is usually invoked anytime somebody who does not look like Blackbeard is added to a Tom Clancy property. Invoking the opinion of a dead man who can't speak for himself notwithstanding, I knew the moment that I saw Ubisoft's approach that people were going to be really nasty about it. But what would they be irritated by? Well, let's try to find out. Would they be irritated by the fact that she's in her appropriate BDUs? Well, no, because we've been asking for a more grounded tone since 2020. Are the robots too far-fetched of a technology? Well, we added Jackal to the game a long time ago, And as far as I could tell, nobody had an issue with that. So if we're gonna make an argument about the robots being just way too much, whoa, this is where Ubisoft really jumped the shark. I don't think that's a fair argument because we are working on machines like these in reality. So here's the final good faith argument you could make. Galanos is an operator and she's performing combat duties. Why is she involved in combat duties if she can't walk on her own? That's not realistic. That's not authentic design. So that's our hypothetical Ben Shabibo. So if we're talking about realism, let's use logic here. Are there active duty military service members who are disabled? Well, a good place to start would be the Wounded Warrior Project. While on active duty, Ryan Cools sustained an injury that put him in a coma for 2 weeks. He underwent a long recovery process, but he retired in 2007, that's 2 years later, as an Army captain. He wasn't kicked out because he couldn't do operator stuff anymore. He was still considered a valuable asset of the US Army. But gee, no, it's about combat, okay? This is tough stuff. They're cool guys. They shoot guys with guns or so badass. Dude, it's all right. Funnily enough, there was a guy who was an amputee. He went back into active command. So as it turns out, the reality of the situation is a lot more complicated. So let's go back to the video game. What could be the issue with Galanos' depiction in this version of Rainbow? Is it spitting in Tom Clancy's face? Is it dishonoring his legacy? If people really feel that way, I want to know, is it dishonorable to write a story implying that active duty soldiers can get paralyzed in combat? Something tells me I'm not going to get an answer to that question. Can't imagine why. Here's another question about this patch that I don't think I'm gonna get an answer to right away. The question is, why did you nerf Solus again? Look, Ubi, you know that I'm cool. I did the ritual, I took the oath, I pledged my life to Pengu and Pro League, just like everybody else. But I just don't know why Solus needed another hit with the nerf bat. To summarize the changes, Solus cannot see the gadget types when she is scanning stuff. In order to see the gadget types, you have to activate it like an active ability. There is a charge that you use that overclocks the scanner. So that's a direct nerf. Sometimes you can tell when something is moving that, okay, that's a drone. You can tell off of context clues, but sometimes a blitz will run by, or a jackal, or a Nokk, or a finka, and you'll have no idea. You'll have to activate the scanny thing and then gamble if that charge of your scanner is gonna give you useful information. But if you can believe it, there's more to it. If you scan an active camera or an active drone, the player on the other team will know that you scanned it. Ubisoft is a company of adults, and I know that they can take it, so I'm not trying to mince words here. I do not believe these Solus changes are a good idea.
Also, with Solus, like, when you're looking at everything, you don't know if you're looking at somebody on their cam or if you're looking at a drone. Obviously, if it's moving, you can tell it's a drone, and then you have to use your overclock, but then it tells them that you're looking at them.
I know. I don't know. I don't know about that.
Bro, Solus is about to be, is not about to be picked, bro.
Yeah, too much.
I feel like they'll probably change that.
I just think, I don't even think they needed to do all that. I think they just needed to get rid of the ability to see drones in the prep phase. Like,
5 seconds.
that was pretty much the strongest part of her kid.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Solus has lost her gameplay loop. She has lost her unique gameplay loop that allows her to play quickly and actionably off of the information that she gathers. Now she has to run through all of these different hoops that no other Intel character has to do. IQ certainly doesn't have to do it. In fact, IQ is a direct hard counter to our robotic friend, Skopos. And with much apologies made to anybody that I hunted down on IQ with Skopos, the main thing that I'm trying to get at is every once in a while, Ubisoft will find a target, right? They'll find a target problem where it's like, wow, yeah, this operator can do this. This operator can deny plant. They can find the defuse. They can see if their own runouts are claymored off and there's no penalty to it. Oh my gosh, they have so many different things. Yeah, that's fun. Remember, like, Solus's whole thing was that she interfaces with the sandbox of Siege. That's her thing. And when you make that more difficult to interface with, it's usually not going to be that popular of a change. And this is something that I remember talking to Keeney about on our podcast. I mentioned when it was evident that Solus was becoming a problem, I said, I am kind of worried that Ubisoft is going to tack too hard on this and they're just going to absolutely obliterate her when I think all she really needs is just a little bit of touch up. And look what happened. Now, I'm not trying to tell Ubisoft how to do their job. I'm sure there's things that they look at that they see that I don't see. But as a content creator, I gotta say what I think. And in my personal opinion, I think the nerf is way too much. I think Ubisoft needs to keep a close eye on this. And please, 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 try to find an avenue to work her back into a place where she has some of that power. Because I think Solus was genuinely one of the more interesting characters in the game. I loved that she had this ability to play off of the defuse, play off of drones, right? I love that she has this little dance with IQ, right? This back and forth kind of intel gathering, Cold War. Hey, here's something else. When she's on the scanner, she can't have her gun up. So she was already at a deficit because of that. I think it's way too much. Give her something. Let me fire my gun while I'm scanning. If I can't get a guaranteed value off of the overclock, at least let me guess. At least let me guess through a wall. Is that a drone? Is that a guy? Okay, it's a drone. I don't know if that's a good idea. Maybe test it out. Maybe you've already tested it out. I don't know. I strongly encourage Ubisoft to just keep an eye on her and, you know, find an approach that benefits her. All right, balancing stuff. What else? So Dokkaebi cannot get on the phone calls right at the beginning of the round. That's pretty much it. You have to wait 45 seconds into the actual action phase before you can do the phone call. And that matters. That, you know, it's relevant. I'm recording at midnight, so I'm not familiar exactly with all the nuances of it, but that is the strongest part of the rework in terms of, you know, mitigating her power. She was very, very good at that initial hard, fast, really aggressive roam clear. Now she doesn't have that. I think that's fine. I think that she had a little bit too much going for her. This was one of the few cases where I saw the sheer amount of stuff that Dokkaebi could do, and I was like, that's a lot. She's very versatile, and we all know how Ubisoft feels about versatile operators. So, again, I was worried that she was gonna, you know, get a hit on the nerf bat from the utility game, and I think that this is a better way to approach it. I think that this, you know, keeps her from being a super just powerhouse character and keeps her in a place where her role is important, but it's not like the end of the world. Now, here's the big kahuna burger. This is the big one. So, Nokk. Remember how Nokk, everybody wanted Nokk buffed, right? Nokk was this ugly duckling of Siege that Ubisoft just couldn't seem to figure out what they wanted to do with her. They had one idea where she could walk for the Capcan traps, and they were like, nah, if it's too much. And then she had the recoil on the FMG nerfed because reasons. Well, I got good news for you. Take a look at how the recoil is when I'm running a suppressor here.
I'll keep nomading in the doorway. Ain't no way they're gonna switch to this one. There's... Oh, he was in the corner.
Oh! Nice. I think I hear him below.
Yeah, I can't tell.
In the corner.
What type of sound?
Oh, he's flanking waterfall, waterfall.
Normal.
Okay, I have a drone. Oh shit, yeah.
On the door already.
Nice.
I love the Nokk change, but not because of the FMG9, although that is nice. The recoil is easier to control. No, Nokk has so much more potential than she used to because her gadget runs off of an energy system, and she only depletes energy when she is doing certain actions. I'm gonna sit here and hold a flank watch, and I want you to look at the action bar. Do you notice anything? It's not moving. Yeah. Invisible flank watch. Awesome, awesome, awesome change. Borderline broken, but keep it, okay? I'm here. I'm here for the chaos. Now you notice it didn't deplete when I was walking. Uh-huh. So think of all the places we can actually sneak up on people now with Nokk. Garage bank, right? There's nothing to shoot or melee for that take. You can just walk right in. You don't even have to shoot the default camera. It's probably even better to not shoot the default camera. Now there's a little strategic mind game you can play with this sneaking trickster character. And that is the power fantasy of the character, one, which is really, really awesome. And 2, it gives her an X factor that I think that she's needed to have for a long time, and I really, really wanted Ubisoft to lean into that more. This is exactly the kind of balancing that I like. Nokk interfaces with the Siege gameplay loop, tricking and deceiving the observation tools of the enemy. Now, if you hear somebody on attack shoot an FMG9, you gotta go, hey, wait a minute, there's a Nokk on the other team. It might be one of those cases where it looks kind of broken on paper, but in practice, it might not be something that professional teams are really gonna lean on too much. I could be wrong. Hey, you know, maybe pretty soon here, we'll see Nokk have like an insta-ban rate or something. I don't know. And it's kind of tough to see operators in a super competitive environment anymore because of, well, the cheater situation. Now, it's relevant to bring it up once again for, you know, obvious reasons, but also because Ubisoft is starting up a new matchmaking program called the Siege Cup. This is Siege's premier system. This is their equivalent of a tourney matchmaking system. You have to have a set number of people, 5 people, that you lock in, you register for a set period of time, and you're locked in with that 5 stack, and your mission is to beat the other teams in the tournament until elimination, and then you get a reward. Ubisoft wants this to be their most premier competitive, super duper sweat tryhard mode. And I am super duper here for that. I love the idea of the Siege Cup. There's just one problem. I don't know what's going on with the cheater thing. Ubisoft stated this season they're rolling out something a lot more involved with their anti-cheat infrastructure. They used a bunch of words that sound like computer science terms that I honestly don't have any clue about. The logic seemed sound, so I said, okay, well, I hope that they're right. Here's the thing. I'm not gonna make a call one way or the other until I boot up the game and I see it for myself. If I boot up the game and it's Cheater City, I don't know what to tell you. If I boot up the game and it's better than what we were dealing with before, good. That's good. Anything at this point is an improvement over Operation New Blood. Regardless of Operation New Blood, I am prepared, ready, okay, satisfied with moving on from that, just calling it what it was. Respect Ubisoft for understanding that us as content creators, there's an expectation that we call things the way they are. And hey, maybe, just maybe this season will be enough to inject some new energy. If people are really enthusiastic about this Siege Cup mode, if the new anti-cheat, whatever they're doing, puts at least a significant dent in the problem, just an improvement, right? An improvement over where we're at right now. If we get an improvement now, and we get an improvement next season, and who knows what happens in year 10, then I think the game will be doing okay. Overall, I think Operation Twin Shells is a very solid patch, and obviously it is a huge relief after Operation New Blood. Ubisoft is playing around a little bit more with the versus AI playlist. They messed around with the shooting range a little bit. It's a lot harder than you think. I like what they've done here because they've added a cover system for the dummies. The dummies take cover the way that Siege players actually take cover. And it's a lot more precise than you're used to. That's good. That'll help you out a lot with your crosshair placement if that's something that you struggle with. Of course, nobody would ever take time to improve their ability in a hobby that they do that they don't get paid money for. I don't think anybody should give people grief for wanting to improve at a game like Rainbow Six Siege if there are people out there that play something like disc golf. It's me. I play disc golf. Yep. I'm one of those people now. The long and short of it is the new operator is insane. I've never seen anything like it in Siege. I don't think we're ever going to see anything like it for a significant amount of time. This is a smart, interesting, dynamic way to add a sort of unpredictability to the gameplay loop that has never been here before. I'm so here for it. I love the look of the robot. I love the Ethan from Infinite Warfare kind of callback. I'm very, very excited to see what happens with the Siege Cup beta, and I'm going to be playing Skopos a lot. I never thought I would see Rainbow Six Siege make a teleporting operator work, but they've managed to do it in a novel, interesting, complex way that is representative of what Siege is as an artistic property, as a gameplay design exercise. And I want to give props to everybody on the design team involved with Skopos. They absolutely hit a freaking dinger here. This is so, so cool. Click the link in the description to find out everything you need to know about what's coming in Rainbow Six Siege Operation Twin Shells. And once again, thank you to Ubisoft for sponsoring this video. Let me know what you think about the new season in the comments. I read as many of them as I can, for better or worse. Deuces.
It is.